Whether it's a child, a woman, a man, and a senior citizen, no one is spared. Road traffic crashes around the world take the lives of over 1.2 million people each year, and between 20 and 50 million suffer non-fatal injuries. This means that approximately every second, someone is injured, and every 30 seconds, a victim dies.
On May 3rd, 1995, I received a phone call that's every parent's nightmare. The voice on the other end told me that my son had been killed in a bus crash in Turkey. I later found out much more about it. I discovered that he was killed along with 22 other people on the bus, that the driver was speeding down the wrong lane of a narrow 2-lane highway with no guardrail and a dangerous curve. The driver, the road, the vehicle. All three things really blended together to make a tragedy.
I think that it's a particular problem in low and middle income countries because there's a rapidly escalating number of motor vehicles in those countries, coupled with the fact that safety initiatives and healthcare have not been able to keep up.
In general, road infrastructure, particularly in the developing world, is not optimal. Many of the roads have not been constructed with road safety in mind.
Close to 6 years ago, in September 2003, I was involved in a road accident, road crash. A drunk driver knocked at the vehicle that we were in, and we overturned several times. We were all thrown out of the vehicle, and 2 of my friends passed away on the spot, one of who was my best friend. After my injury, I became quadriplegic, paralyzed from the shoulders down, and confined to a wheelchair. We were not wearing seat belts. All of us were thrown out of the vehicle, and if seat belt laws were also strictly enforced, I probably would not be on a wheelchair.
It is not only the 9th largest killer, it's a preventable one. We funded a study to look at where traffic deaths are, what kinds of transportation people use. What we now have is the data to go to governments and say, look, this is a number of your citizens who are dying, and here's what you can do about it.
Nearly half of road traffic crash victims are what we call vulnerable road users. And in fact, in some of the countries of Asia and Africa, this proportion can be as high as 70 or 80%. These are people who are walking along the side of the road, people who are on motorcycles, so people who are not encased in something solid like a vehicle and therefore are more vulnerable.
Road safety is an area where we can truly, as a global community, say we are responsible for our future. If we decide to invest in evidence-based road safety programs that are effectively implemented, we can save millions of lives over the next 10 to 20 years.
I think a lot of people are still fatalistic about road traffic crashes, but they are preventable, and that's why we like to call them crashes or collisions and not accidents. They're not acts of God. There are things that we can do about it.
We have the numbers. We've had some demonstration projects. We have examples of how to do things. Now we've got to put it into action. The next challenge is to bring it to the attention of those who can implement change, and also to bring it to the attention of those who are the victims, and maybe they can demand change.
Much can be done to reverse this epidemic. There are a number of relatively simple interventions that can be put in place that will save lives every second of every day.
Fewer people would be injured.
Fewer friends, neighbors, and families will suffer.
It really can make a very big difference if you get together and say, let's address the issue.